Oyite-Ojok, 1971 coup, Idi Amin, Obote, Uganda political history, military escape, survival story. What if I told you that one of Uganda's most influential military commanders almost never lived to see his rise? What if everything that followed, the battles, the leadership, the controversies, the legacy, almost ended in a locked office inside Parliament? And what if the only thing that saved him was timing, instinct, and a soldier who fell asleep at the wrong moment? This is not just a story about history. It's a story about survival, razor thin, heart pounding survival. Let's begin. The year is 1971. Uganda is a tense country with power struggles simmering beneath the surface. President Milton Obote, whose administration has become increasingly unpopular with certain factions in the military, is preparing to attend a Commonwealth meeting in Singapore. Behind the scenes, officers loyal to him, including Major David Oyite-Ojok, are attempting to contain what they see as a growing threat: the rising influence of Army Commander Idi Amin. The military environment is electric with suspicion. Rumors of plots and counterplots animate barracks conversations. Soldiers exchange uneasy glances. And buried within these tensions is a dangerous plan: a quiet move to arrest Idi Amin before he acts on his own ambitions. Three men become central to this plan: Major David Oyite-Ojok, a rising officer with a sharp mind and unwavering loyalty to the president; Tito Okello, an experienced senior commander; Arinayo Oryema, Uganda's Inspector General of Police. Their meeting place, the IGP's office inside Uganda's Parliament building. It is within those walls, on the second floor, that a mission takes shape, a mission that will either stabilize Uganda or unleash a storm. None of them realize the storm is already starting. Had a plan that collapsed in flames. Their strategy, in theory, is simple: summon senior soldiers from West Nile, Amin's strongest supporters, to a mess near Lubiri barracks, arrest them before they can react, then detain Amin himself at his Kololo residence. A swift, bloodless neutralization. But the plan never gets the chance to succeed. A group of soldiers sent to secure the West Nile group hesitates. Some rebel, some refuse orders, others warn Amin's loyalists. The operation turns chaotic, fast. In the confusion, several loyal officers attempting the arrests are overwhelmed and killed. And in the brutality of interrogation, one of them reveals a truth that instantly changes the coup's trajectory. Open quote: Oyite-Ojok and Tito Okello are hiding in the IGP's office at Parliament. Close quote. This single confession becomes a death sentence. The coup accelerates like wildfire. Soldiers loyal to Idi Amin seize strategic points across Kampala. Plumes of smoke rise from barracks. Gunfire echoes across the capital. Radio Uganda blares with sudden announcements of change. Inside the Parliament building, Oyite-Ojok hears the sounds of victory, but not for his side. The country is falling. The coup he feared is unfolding, and he is trapped. 2 days in a death trap. For 2 long days and nights, Oyite-Ojok remains inside that office. He is not sleeping, barely breathing, and constantly listening for footsteps in the corridor. He hears marching boots. Soldiers outside shout, argue, laugh, whisper. Their conversations float through the walls. Some call his name loudly, mocking or taunting, fully aware that he is somewhere inside. Every knock at the door feels like the last. Every voice feels like a verdict. He later described these moments as the longest hours of his life, a mental torture chamber sealed inside Parliament. Outside, jubilant soldiers shout slogans celebrating Amin's takeover. Trucks roar down the road. Machine guns thump in the distance. Tanks roll through the city. The coup is complete. But inside Parliament, two men are missing from Amin's list of captured enemies: David Oyite-Ojok and Tito Okello, and the soldiers are determined to find them. The night of the escape. The night of January 26th arrives with a quiet different from the previous days, a heavy, eerie calm. Midnight passes. The halls grow still. The city's chaos seems far away. At around 2 a.m., Oyite-Ojok makes his move. He opens the door slowly, inch by inch, heart thudding so loudly he is convinced it echoes in the hallway. The corridor is dim, lit by faint bulbs that flicker unpredictably. He steps out expecting shouts, boots, gunfire. Nothing. He starts walking. Every step feels like walking through quicksand. He navigates stairs, turns, and doorways like a ghost moving through the shell of a former government. Then, halfway through the corridor, he encounters what could have been his end. A soldier, armed, sleeping, leaning back against a wall, rifle resting loosely in his hands. Under different circumstances, this soldier would have shot him instantly. Orders were clear: eliminate Oyite-Ojok on sight. But fate, luck, timing, call it what you want, intervened. The soldier remained asleep. Quietly, Oyite-Ojok takes the gun from the man's hands and continues out of Parliament. The grounds outside were not heavily fenced at that time. He slips into the night, crosses the grass, and moves towards Jinja Road. Kampala is tense but unusually quiet, the eye of a political storm. A dangerous encounter at the railway station. He heads towards the railway station. There, fate tests him again. Three soldiers are awake, alert, and incredibly they recognize him. This is the moment everything should have ended. These were soldiers under Amin's authority with engines of the coup fully behind them. Killing Oyite-Ojok would have earned them praise, rewards, perhaps even promotion. But instead, something unexpected happens. They let him go. Whether out of respect, loyalty, fear, confusion, or sheer disbelief, he never fully explained. What matters is that this moment becomes the turning point in his survival. Had those three men decided differently, this story would have ended right there. The Kololo Sanctuary. After escaping the railway station, Oyite-Ojok heads to Kololo, one of Kampala's quieter neighborhoods. He arrives at the home of a trusted friend, a man who risks everything by sheltering him. In that house, a frantic but carefully planned operation begins to smuggle him out of Uganda. Time is short. Amin's soldiers are searching for him everywhere. His name is circulating across barracks and checkpoints. Within a short time, arrangements are secretly made for him to escape across the border. He succeeds. By slipping out of Uganda into Tanzania, he avoids assassination and enters a new phase of life, one forged in exile, struggle, and determination. The rise of a rebel strategist. In Tanzania, Oyite-Ojok does not stay quiet. Instead, he links up with Obote loyalists, political exiles, and early resistance networks forming against Amin's regime. What begins as a small gathering of displaced soldiers slowly transforms into a formidable force. He becomes a strategist, a unifying influence, and one of the brains behind the early resistance movements. His ability to read the battlefield, organize men, gather intelligence, and build alliances makes him indispensable. The escape from death strengthens his reputation. Exile sharpens his resolve. By 1979, when Idi Amin's regime collapses, Oyite-Ojok returns to Uganda a very different man, seasoned, hardened, respected, and propelled into a position of major influence. Chief of Staff, the peak of power. After the fall of Amin, the new government forms the Uganda National Liberation Army, UNLA. Oyite-Ojok rises rapidly within this new structure. He is appointed Chief of Staff. This position places him at the center of military strategy, operations, and national defense. He shapes recruitment, discipline, and battlefield tactics. Many describe him as highly intelligent, exceptionally strategic, deeply committed, fearless, and sometimes overly assertive. His leadership style is firm and directive. His influence reaches far into political decisions, security planning, and national stability. But with power comes new dangers, political rivals, suspicion, and a new wave of conflict from armed groups. The final mission. By 1983, Uganda is facing fresh conflict as the National Resistance Army, NRA, grows stronger. Oyite-Ojok oversees major operations against the rebels, traveling constantly to front lines, coordinating movements, and pushing for decisive victories. On December 3rd, 1983, he boards a helicopter for a routine military mission. Sometime after takeoff, the helicopter crashes in Nakasongola district. His death shocks the nation. Whether it was mechanical failure or attack remains debated, but the impact is undeniable. Without him, the structure of the UNL weakens dramatically. His absence becomes a turning point in Uganda's civil conflict. A legacy carved by danger, power, and mystery. David Oyite-Ojok's life is a story of contrasts, bravery and controversy, heroism and ambition, leadership and conflict. But one fact remains. He should have died in January 1971, yet he didn't. He escaped Parliament like a shadow. He walked past death 3 separate times. He fled the country under threat. He returned to become one of Uganda's most powerful military figures. His survival changed the shape of Uganda's political landscape. Why this story still matters? Because it reminds us how fragile history is, how the future can depend on a single door opening quietly. how the life of one man can alter national events for decades. If Oyite-Ojok had died in parliament, Uganda's history would read very differently, politically, militarily, and socially. Survival stories are not just about escaping death. They are about the chain reactions they set off in the world beyond the escape. In Oyite-Ojok's case, those reactions shaped a